that is ensuring the movement of funds from the payer to the payee. In short, this is what payment systems is all about.
We have also been having collaboration with the government IFMIS project, which is also the government financial management project that is responsible for the government accounts. And we have established connections now in which all the accounts of government can be remotely viewed by the Directorate of National Treasury, and in effect will improve also in terms of prompt receipt of all payments and receipts going into the account of the government. Plans are also underway to integrate GRA within the same module that we had with the DNT to improve on the revenue mobilization.
The reforms have been extensive in this area. We are collaborating with the commercial banks, which are the key stakeholders, but beyond the financial institutions, mainly the commercial bank, we are also collaborating with the Directorate of National Treasury under the IFMIS program. We are collaborating with Gambia revenue authorities. As one of the key objectives is to make sure that government revenue is paid into government account at the Central Bank of the Gambia as quickly as possible. In other words, indirectly, we want to assist government in their public financial management. These resources that are due to government must be available for implementation of government programs, and this is a key deliverable of the system and an important objective of the system as well. The central bank, together with the commercial banks, would also be working together to ensure that there are improvements on the system. The systems have been in operation for nearly 6 months now, and they are found to be stable. Nevertheless, we will continue to work with the commercial banks and the solution providers to bring about any improvement that would ensure that efficiency in the payment systems is achieved.
The key components of the financial reforms are the automated check processing, the automatic check clearing ACP, ACH, the real-time gross settlement systems RTGS, and the security settlement system SSS.
And these two payments are the ACP, ACH, which takes into account checks and other direct credit payments to the account of beneficiaries. And also we have the RTGS also, which also take into account large value transactions. What we are doing here is to ensure that all large value transactions have immediate value, and hence the word real-time gross settlement. As soon as the funds are wired, either from the central bank or to the commercial banks, from the central bank's perspective, all those entries goes into the account of the beneficiary. So effectively, the value for those transactions, particularly the large value transactions, are credited immediately to the account of the beneficiary, and this we believe will be able to improve on the revenue mobilization of government in terms of revenue coming in. And then we also have the ACP, ACH, and the automated clearinghouse, which also take into all the other payments.
The automated clearing processing ACP system is a check scanning, imaging, truncation, and clearing system to handle the automation of check clearing among all the banks in the Gambia. The automated clearinghouse ACH system, on the other hand, provides the facility for all the participating banks to submit badges of debit and credit payments via electronic means, particularly for recurring payments such as salaries, insurance premiums, utility payments, amongst others. This electronic clearinghouse replaces the manual clearinghouse system, which brought together representatives of all the commercial banks in a laborious process of exchanging checks.
The manual clearing is done in a very, very tedious way. As you have seen during the demonstration, checks would have to become, and all the commercial banks would have to be present, and the exchange will be done through the banks, all the 13 banks. And the net settlement at the end of the day is done in the central bank here. They will have to go to their commercial banks and distribute the check to the branches and the head office and start inputting into the benefit customer's account manually. And basically the minimum the check will be cleared is 3 days. It can go 4 days, 5 days depending on the location.
The new clearinghouse enables all the banks to operate an electronic clearinghouse to process checks with a central site based at the central bank building.
Once we receive the checks from central banks, it comes through the interface. And once we receive the checks, we have an interface that picks the checks automatically, receive the files, and as the checks comes in, the interface reads the checks, and we are posting the check on a real-time basis.
If a check is processed and sent to the recipient bank, and it happens that there is no enough funds or insufficient funds to settle that check, the check is returned back to the clearinghouse, and then the clearinghouse will send it back to the remitting bank. In that case, it will take 24 to 48 hours for a check to be settled because of this observation period. There's also a cancellation period. A check can be cancelled if the remitting bank sends a check and later realize that there was a problem with the check, that it can be cancelled. But the very day the check was sent to the clearinghouse, if it goes beyond that day, the clearinghouse will not accept that rejection. So that check will be settled because the stipulated time is the same day that the check is sent to the clearinghouse. If there is any cancellation, it should be done that very day.
The basic features of the ACP-ACH are the adoption of a new check standard, which include a magnetic ink character recognition code MICA line and the electronic exchange of check image and data files as opposed to conventional paper checks for clearing and settlement purposes. Therefore, under the new system, checks cleared through the ACH must have correct B-band, that is the basic bank account number, printed on the bottom of the check leaf with the magnetic ink character recognition MICA. The imaging system should be able to process all checks that conform to the check design standard set by the Central Bank of the Gambia. Therefore, the proper handling of checks is a basic requirement of this new system, and at all costs, the public should avoid soiled, stapled or damaged checks, which cannot be processed through these sensitive scanners.
The checks that are issued by the commercial banks to customers, if they are not handled properly, they could be rejected by the scanner, and this will delay settlement. Customers should be cautious of the way they handle their check leaf. They should make sure that the check is not soiled or folded. Check leaf cannot be folded. Otherwise, it will be rejected by the scanner, and that will delay settlement. So to avoid that, the check leaf has to be handled properly. And another thing is to append a signature. Customer will make sure that the signature is appended at the provision given on the check and not below the line where the signature should be appended. Otherwise, it will create a problem with the check leaf, because customers should not write near the MICA code line.